Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Today we'll react to Fight Club, A Warning for Men. Let's get down to business, shall we? And how's everyone doing today? Good? Let me know in the comments.
Men love Fight Club. Most films made over 20 years ago have long been forgotten, but among the tiny few that maintain their relevancy, Fight Club always comes on top. Because Fight Club is more than just a film. It's quite literally a religious story. The story begins deep within the narrator's mind, as we're shot through his consciousness and into the mouth of the narrator, where Tyler is preparing to turn society into rubble and begin the revolution. But how did it get to this? Well, it starts in a regular day in an artificially lighted, soul-crushing office. The narrator is a sleep-deprived, caffeinated drone. Everyone is a copy of a copy, printing the same things, dressing the same, and drinking the same Starbucks lattes. The narrator is quite literally a slave to the 9 to 5, with his only passion being IKEA furniture.
What kind of dining set defines me as a person?
By living such a monotonous life, his body can no longer rest. He's never asleep, but he's never awake either. So to deal with this, he goes to find people who are deep in despair, as a way to not only feel better about himself, but also to form the deep connection that is missing in his life. One of the first people he meets is a man called Bob. Bob fears for his masculinity. His testicular cancer has reduced him to a blubbering mass who's been stripped of his masculine energy. A man whose hormones morph from testosterone to estrogen. A man who's lost his children's respect. A man whose life is expiring fast. The narrator shares his pain, he feels that lost connection, and so the narrator becomes addicted to the men's whole group, because there's none of this connection anywhere else. When their workspaces, opinions, hobbies, and tastes are all the same, people can't connect on that deeper level. It's only times of despair that can foster any semblance of human connection. But then why have men become so weak? What is behind this male despair? Well, I've spent countless hours studying this phenomenon, and there are three main things causing this, and they might surprise you. But before we go into that, we need to see how Fight Club tackles masculinity in the 21st century. The story cuts forward to the narrator living out his regular life, a life of wasting time, doing meaningless, unfulfilling tasks, and watching his life end 1 minute at a time, where everything is packaged in atomized portions. Shampoo condition combos, sample package mouthwash, tiny bars of soap, living a transient life where everyone he meets disappears again on the next flight, over and over. The only interesting thing in his life is the fantasy of dying in a plane crash. However, it's on one of these flights where the character Tyler Durden is introduced. A man who's the opposite of the narrator in every way. A man's man, with a big leather jacket, shades, and unlimited confidence. Tyler Durden begins to change everything. His calm, stoic confidence with his fatalistic outlook makes for a perfect testosterone-laced aura. And as he drives off in a stolen sports car, the narrator goes back to his regular life, only to find all his possessions have gone. His IKEA home has evaporated. His identity in past life has been reduced to ash. It's in this moment where the narrator begins to regain his true masculinity. Okay, so then what is causing men to feel so weak? What's behind this male disconnect in real life? Well, I think one of the main reasons behind this is that men no longer have any means of self-expression or deep connection. See, what I think Fight Club really...
Something I want to know, if this, if men getting weaker and the testosterone thing has been declining, like, ever since, like, the 70s or some crap like that, why wasn't it talked, like, way back then, like, way back, like, oh, there's been this rapid decrease, and why hasn't this thing become popular? Like, why hasn't this masculinity crisis become, like, a popular topic to be talked about?
That really taps into is the kind of shadow avatars we become, where real authentic connection fades behind the 9 to 5 struggle. When you live this 9 to 5 existence in a decaying dystopian megacity, you never get that shared struggle or accomplishment. Instead, we're just working in the same room on tasks that don't engage us or put us in a natural flow state. Instead, we live a lifestyle that numbs us into flaccid apathy, devoid of passion, healthy aggression, or connection. Instead of us going out into the world, exploring the unknown, facing shared adversity, and overcoming it for the benefit of the group, we now do the same tasks silently at our desks. The fact is that average life for so many men means that their relationships are always functioning on a surface level. And with so many limited connections, we turn to supposedly social means of relaxing. Going on Tinder, playing video games, going to the bar to supposedly unwind. You see all these men piling up in sticky low-end clubs.
And all that kind of stuff right there, like playing video games, like, you can do that every now and then. Go to the bar, it's probably a good place to talk with your friends or family. But, and then all that kind of stuff, it's not bad, but we keep on doing it. and it becomes a really bad habit. Like for example, an old bad habit for me, I mean, it still kind of is now, is biting my nails. That's pretty common actually, but
Clubs to bathe in the waters of the profane, destroying their body to the crescendos of recycled thumping bass, scantily dressed paralytic women, and salivating droog-like men, rushing to the refuge of an inebriated stupor to feel some sort of connection. These low-end bars, clubs, and Tinder are like a slot machine, where you spend your money and time to get hooked on the prospect of winning a sloppy, disconnected hookup. If deep social connections were normal for men, if men felt connected to their labor and the people around them, where they felt like a healthy, unrepressed individual, there would be no need for any of this. We wouldn't be wasting our lives getting drunk, standing out in dead-end clubs until God knows when, to be with everyone else who's doing nothing with their lives, all for the hopes of meeting someone to get off of, and then only to repeat this cycle every single week, all because you just want to feel that love and connection you never had. It makes it hard to be an upwardly mobile young man when your life is defined by throwing your money at video games and getting plastered in a pool of vomit. And in the last few years, with jobs going remote, people becoming unemployed and robots replacing manual labor, we've become even more depressed and isolated, and men are on the brunt of all of this, with male suicide rates reaching an all-time high in recent years, because men lack the social connection and purpose that necessitates a happy life. Okay, so then how can this...
again, why wasn't this talked about like all these years ago? Also, you remember that suicide's not the answer. There's so many other things in life. Like, life offers a lot of opportunities, challenges, and stuff, but we're just brainwashed and influenced.
How can this be fixed? What's the solution to this deep-rooted problem? Well, this is what Fight Club seeks to work out. After the narrator comes back to find all his possessions burnt to the ground, his male transformation begins. So in a last-ditch effort for redemption, the narrator calls Tyler, where they discuss his possessions and identity being destroyed. As he rants about his possessions being destroyed, Tyler reminds him how destructive this consumer mindset really is. He talks about how this makes men weak, detaching us from our hunter-gatherer instincts. We are byproducts of a lifestyle obsession. Tyler describes this as being one of his main concerns with society. His concerns aren't crime, war, or poverty. It's celebrity magazines, televisions with 500 channels, Viagra, Xanax. Tyler describes all these comforts as just being coping mechanisms for living in such an unnatural world. To revert back to what is truly felt, Tyler asks the narrator to punch him. He wants to feel something. He wants to be taken back into the now, the present, and feel a swell in his masculine energy. And so they begin to beat each other hand to hand. After the fight, they go back to Tyler's house, which is a rundown, abandoned, disgusting house, with boarded up windows, leaking pipes, and infested with moss, all to destroy the narrator's addiction to comfort. And within a month, the narrator no longer misses TV. He doesn't miss his possessions. He enjoys the discomfort. He's confident and aggressive, and other men become allured by his life. They gather by the dozens to fight with each other, all of them wanting to fill their untapped masculine energy. This pattern only continues to grow. All these men who are fed up with being weak losers. These men who have lost their way, who feel resentful of the world around them, leading to the formation of an underground group known as Fight Club. A club dedicated to rejecting what they claim to be feminine conformist indoctrination. And it's around this time the narrator starts to be perceived differently. He's now seen as an individual. In fact, all of the people at Fight Club now stand out from the rest. They aren't just carbon copies anymore. They are battered, they dress and act differently. These aren't the same men. With this rejuvenation of the masculine and rejection of the mundane conformity, the narrator becomes hungry. He becomes hypersexual. He smokes in his office. He looks in disgust at the drones surrounding him. The comfort, the passive aggressiveness and mundanity. He sacrifices all of this to revel in the discomfort.
Give up the condo life, give up all your flaming worldly possessions.
This idea of sacrifice and comfort becomes central to the ethos of Fight Club. To join Fight Club, you have no choice but to fight. Comfort is consumerism, and Fight Club seeks to kill both of these things. Because to these men, comfort is what made men so weak, and one of the biggest causes of comfort is the narrator's 9-to-5 job. So to move away from this cushy, sterile office life, the narrator and Tyler begin to make soap. Why soap? Well, this becomes clearer later on, but for now, the two rated liposuction
Don't
clinic
drop
are hewn
that soap,
back to
though.
make soap. And during this process, Tyler pours lye onto the narrator's hand as an initiation. How much comfort is he willing to sacrifice for his future self? As Tyler tells him, without pain or sacrifice, we would have nothing. And once you have nothing, you can do anything. Meaning the narrator has to accept this pain, the suffering, before Tyler can give him the vinegar to neutralize it. And eventually, after accepting the pain, they begin selling the soap at high-end fashion stores, selling rich women their asses back to them. But now it's become clear that the narrator has fully transformed. For example, later at work, the narrator threatens his boss after he finds a printout of the rules of Fight Club. For
first rule of Fight Club is you don't talk about Fight Club?
Because he no longer fears his boss. He's now in charge. He's consciously moved above his boss. But it's not only the narrator who's going on this masculine journey. The narrator is now forming deep connections with the people around him. And the people around him now adore the narrator, with Bob telling the narrator how great a man he is. It's very clear that Fight Club is tapping into something repressed in these men. And this shared resentment and repression of the masculine becomes political, where in the words of Tyler Durden, an entire generation of people pumping gas, waiting tables, slaves with white collars, chasing cars and clothes, working jobs we hate so we can buy shit we don't need. With no purpose or place, the group decides that men from everywhere need to become uncomfortable, to be pushed away from the modern platitudes and back to their primal, raw, hungry selves. To do this, each member is assigned homework, like starting a fight with a random person, an assignment that causes the narrator to lose his job. And then there's other activities, such as smashing up people's television satellites, destroying Apple computers, puncturing cars, feeding birds, and defecating corporate beamers. At this point in the story, the narrator and Tyler are inching closer towards their master plan. Okay, but for everyone else in the real world, this same bored-up repression is being seen in another way. We're now seeing big changes in society. There are movements called men going their own way. We see these men called black pillars online who blame everyone but themselves for their own